So we're talking about the implications of... Is it implications in the industry of Endgame, or we just say the implications?
Implications of Endgame, it'll become clear that it's to do with the industry, I think.
Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to be talking about the Endgame and the implications it has going forward.
Yeah, it's the big one. It's going to be a massive, massive movie event. Probably bigger than anything in our meager little lifetimes.
Yeah, no, there's always a couple of cinematic moments that have been going through, like as at the ending of Star Wars.
Yeah,
the Khan moment in which gets Star Trek. Matrix. Yeah,
the Matrix was a big one, but I think as far as anticipation, I can't think of something that's at this level. Certainly not something... It's unprecedented. I'm not going to bang on about it. I think everybody knows that it is. And that's why the internet is awash with videos about Endgame.
Yeah, so much so that we had to comment on the fact that the spoiler culture has really, really shown its face.
Yeah.
Like, it's really shown its face in the last couple of, ever since Captain Marvel came out.
Yeah.
After, literally the day after it came out. Just everything was, watch this before you view Endgame, or, this is going to be an Endgame and stuff. So,
and look, we're not above it hoping that people are going to watch this video because of Endgame. It'll be great if you see it, but we're not here to tell you what everybody else has told you, because, as Paul said, this is about the implications of if it goes well or if it goes badly. I think from a movie buff point of view, or from a movie fan point of view, we all want it to go well. But we have to consider what could happen if it doesn't go well. It's an interesting idea. So let's start off with the positive. Start with the good, end with the bad. So
we might leave you with a horrid feeling of dread of the upcoming weeks.
I promise we'll make a joke before it's over, so you can go to bed happy. What do you think if it goes well, Paul? What do you really think is going to be one of the positive implications, or one of the implications?
Well, we were talking about the fact that if it goes well, which is, we will now see that their formula works.
Yeah,
and that in Phase 4 they can start bringing in probably more challenging characters that people might feel are a little bit more outside of what we've experienced, but because of the familiarity to the formula and the goodwill,
it'll put more goodwill in the bank. I've got to adjust my microphone. Apologies. If it goes well, right now, there's an awful lot of goodwill for Marvel. They're doing the unprecedented. If this goes well, they'll have done that even more, and like you say, it will enable some risk taking. I think maybe is one of the points there. I'm up for them taking risks. I think calculated risks inside their formula is exactly what I want Phase 4 to be.
Yeah, if you go through the roster of Marvel films that we've seen, you could say that Guardians of the Galaxy was probably one of their risks.
Yes, for sure.
But once it succeeded, it was then brought into the formula, as in the formula evolved and grew and stuff like that. So with a new character that might be a little bit more outside of the wheelhouse that we're expecting, they will still be able to bring us along for the ride, because we're just that's kind of crazy, but I'm going to go with it because Marvel are good at this.
Because I have no reason not to trust them. And let's face it, they've already had their Ultron moment where one of their big movies didn't quite land the way it was supposed to, but this is at a different level. This is a 2-part big extravaganza event. And this is the second part of it, and it's also closing Phase 3. It's a lot of things all at once. And I think the next thing that's an implication of if it goes well is how it'll affect everybody else's view. And when I say everybody else, I mean all the other studios and all the other players in Hollywood and around the world. So how they'll feel about 2-part extravaganzas, how they'll feel about big extravaganzas ending maybe series that they're doing and being able to go on to a new phase. I think if it goes well, there will be lots of studios watching going, okay, we can do this now. Audiences will go with them. Audiences will stay with them. Whereas I don't know if that'll be true if it doesn't go well.
Yeah, I think to that point, we've seen other universes pop up. Yeah. I don't mean just DC. We mean the Dark Universe with
that was
the
Universal's,
mummies, with the Mummy, with Tom Cruise and stuff, which was meant to somehow link into Dracula Untold in some ways, and they were going to bring in a Frankenstein. I think
do a Jekyll and Hyde. They were going to do a Frankenstein. Were
they going to do a Miss, like a Frankenstein's wife?
Oh, the Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, maybe they were. I think they were going to do the Creature from the Blue Lagoon or Black Lagoon or whatever at one point too. So.
But because essentially those ones failed, I think this will rekindle that light. As in, I think people will be just like, okay, well, it definitely can be done.
Yeah.
It's just the writing. Like, if we don't pander to I wouldn't say the lowest common denominator. I would say, like, you know, to the normal movie action trope things. If we're just like, we want to make an actiony, but also a decent storyline.
Yeah.
That it might rekindle this light and bring new series together and stuff and new universes that actually work.
Yeah, it's about giving the money men confidence. It's so that the artists and the writers and the visionaries can go into the money men's room and go, see, it happened, it worked, it was successful, we can do it too. It's about giving them that ammunition. So
yeah, like
across the board, even as you say, even outside of fantasy, sci-fi, all that, it can apply to any genre. That if people want to try big serialized and particularly the multi-part films, I think you pointed out that The Hobbit is maybe a good example in reverse.
Yes, as in we've had it before where The Hobbit is a book, very very small book that could have probably been done in one to two movies, but it was spread out to three.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are probably like, oh, never do that again.
And it's the perfect example because somebody had just done the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which people thought, there's no way you're going to pull that off. Pulled it off, and then some, and everybody was happy. Then a smaller book was done the other way around, and that spent all the goodwill. It lost a lot of the faith, which is why we're having this particular conversation about Endgame, because Endgame is in that territory right now. If it doesn't get it right, it could have the opposite effect.
Well, I think if it doesn't go right with the two-parter thing, I think it'll just be another one of the fodder. Yeah. As in, see, can't be done. Kind of thing. Whereas if it is done well, it rekindles that light. And like, I wish that Ready Player One, if this is done well, is as in if Infinity War and Endgame show the fact that you can do two-parter films really, really well. I would have loved to see Ready Player One come out after, because I think they may have broken it out to either 2 to 3 films.
Yeah,
and I think we would have had a lot more of an epic kind of thing.
I want this on camera because I joke about Paul being wrong and all sorts of stuff, but when he's right, he's right. And one of the first things after we both got to see Ready Player One, one of the first things you said to me was that could have been multiple films and done right. What was done wasn't right, and that was so absolutely spot on. And I think this is a very good time when you consider what this will mean. That's a great example, because it would have given confidence. If that hadn't happened yet, that maybe they would have gone, this is a Back to the Future right now. We're going to have a trilogy. That's what Ready Player One is going to be.
Yeah.
We're going to give it time to grow and be a world to walk around in.
Yeah, either a trilogy or just a two-parter film. Because with Infinity War and Endgame, it shows the fact that you can focus in on one part of your story, and then the next part as well, meaning that you have a lot more time of building up the world, building up everything,
Yeah, and I think realistically, the kind of the last thing, if it goes well, there's going to be people who are moving out or moving on, let's say, retiring or taking hiatus. So we're talking Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans. Everybody knows Chris Evans has been pretty clear that he's, not necessarily going to be into any more Marvel films. It's like, that's internationally known. There is no spoiler for that. Robert Downey Jr. has been doing a lot of them. It's questionable how many more he'll want to be involved in. If they manage to handle how those characters transition or rotate out or pass away, whatever happens, if they handle that well, it'll mean that they've mastered the last thing that they have to do. And that is work out how to get characters in and out of a universe of this size. And if they manage to open up that revolving door and do it right, they now own Fox. Fox own the X-Men. You can only do the X-Men's massive roster character for me if you're able to cycle people in and out.
No, definitely. No,
and I think that's a massive implication if it goes well.
It does, but adding on to that, the fact that they will be able to do the handling of a character's death really well.
Yeah.
And we've seen testers of this, not just with villains, with heroes like Yandu and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As in, it's done tastefully and stuff like that. But as much as I love Yandu's character and stuff like that, he's not a full blown first character.
No, he's not first string on the avenging team.
Yeah. So like, it'll be interesting to see if then will that make them braver in the fact that they can close off a character's line completely.
Yeah.
But handle it really, really well.
It'll show skill if they do that. And if everybody comes out of the cinema after Endgame going, you know what, Chris Evans' Captain America isn't around anymore, and I'm okay. And you know, that was right.
Yeah.
The last 10 years were right for me.
Yeah, as in with Yandu, just because that's the best example that I kind of have. With Yandu, I'm sad that he's gone, but the way that they did it is such a like a warming, heartfelt moment for me that I'm just like, it for the storyline.
They made a story arc, and that was just incredible. I couldn't agree more.
So yeah, no, I think with the death of a character, they can really play it off in a kind of very good kind of story element way. As in, if this is for the story, we can do this well. Now, of course, all of these are if the good things happen.
Yes. So now into the depressing half of the video. Well, not necessarily, because I don't think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be that first list. I think that Endgame's going to go well. Marvel have done a great job. They haven't let me down, really. There's been a few wobbles, but, you know, who doesn't have a few wobbles along the way? If it's bad, the implications are endless, I would say. But I think the first big one for me is that it really will scare other studios, even outside their own genre. You're not going to find people being brave enough to do serials, episodic movies, and in any genre, people will be like, no, because then you can't get to an ending. They'll consider the James Bond model being the safe way to do multiple movies, or the Mission Impossible model where maybe we can connect them if we want, but oh no, let's not get too tied into that because it's too dangerous. What if one of the films goes wrong and kills us? I would hate to see that happen. That's a real negative for me.
Yeah, like as I said, with the closing off of this story arc or something, and it rekindling the light of you can make your own universes and everything like that, this will put out that fire completely.
Yeah, good way of putting it.
It will completely extinguish the fact, like, you'll have, because currently we've got Godzilla and the possibility of Skull Island, King Kong Skull Island, the crossing over in some way.
Big monster movies, yeah.
That will, you will find that they stop. If they haven't already started, that will never come to pass.
Yeah.
No one will ever reapproach the dark universe ever again.
Yep.
You will find that people are just like, all right, in James Bond we tried to do which goes Spectre and which goes
Skyfall to Spectre.
Yeah, you'll find that James Bond will never touch on that again. They'll never go that way. You'll find Mission Impossible with their like Fallout and the previous one. They'll never do it again, and you'll find that. Like you will have that. Oh,
people will recoil. And when I say people, the studios will recoil, because it will, as we said in the first half of this video, the money men will go. See, instead of the artists and creators being able to walk in pointing at something good, the other side of the table will point at something and go bad.
Yeah.
So don't be coming in here with your big ideas, guys, for 18 films that I have to hope will go well over the next 10 years.
Yeah, you'll find that people will be like, "Oh, you want to do 18 films? Show me the script for the last one."
And look,
DC
have already had to pivot away from the idea of copying not copying, that's unfair, but using a similar tactic. And I think it's good that they've adjusted course slightly. But this would be a death knell for a lot, even outside of DC. I would be less worried about them. They're doing a slightly different thing anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be catastrophic.
It with the DC one, if this goes badly, it puts more pressure onto DC.
For sure.
That's the kind of thing that's very hard for them. But What about Phase 4?
Well, my take is if it goes badly, and this is one of the things that I feel most strongly about, because as we mentioned, people are going to have to be rotated out. Let's say, retired. Maybe they'll be killed off as characters, whatever. You're talking about some of the foundation characters. You will not have all of your foundation characters at hand to help the audience bounce back.
Yeah.
After Ultron, they had Iron Man, Captain America, and everybody, and Thor could all get together again and do Civil War. And people were like, I forgot all about Ultron now, because that's really Avengers 2. You hear people say that. Captain America Civil War was really Avengers 2. Or it's Avengers 2.5, and it was much better than Ultron. They're not going to have that. No.
They won't at all, and they won't have they won't have the main roster to hold their hand into a new dawn. But and also on top of that, you wouldn't want them to. You wouldn't want to force. As in, it'll feel really It'll feel really bad. Sorry, not well.
It'll feel weird.
It'll feel weird in the fact that you have Endgame and you have either the retirement of like Tony Stark going, I'm going to focus on politics, or if they close off the loop for him and go, he's now working on his own stuff, he's not doing the Iron Man kind of thing, we've passed the mantle on to whoever, and then literally Phase 4's first movie is Iron Man 4. You'd be just like, what? Now you're just not showing me the confidence.
And if they don't show us the confidence, we won't have the confidence in them. I think you're right, and that's where that kind of knee-jerk reaction, if this is bad, will change Phase 4. They have said they have plans for Phase 4. They're talking about new characters and new worlds-ish.
New properties,
New properties with Shang-Chi and the Eternals. They're going to do a Black Widow movie. All of those things are not in production as far as we know. So if Endgame goes badly, they could have a complete crap-the-bed moment. Somebody upstairs above Kevin Feige, Bob Iger, whoever, could go, we want... I know Robert Downey Jr. is not out, but throw as much money at him as you can, and let's get Chris Evans to cameo in it. Give him as much money as possible. We're going to resurrect him if we had to kill him off or trap him in the past or whatever they end up doing.
Yeah, you really don't want them to be just like, here's a Deus Ex Machina device to bring him back, because that will be like DC's Superman moment. Where they bring Superman moment, because there'll be no good reason other than, he's the only person that can defeat him.
And remember, this is finished in Phase 3, and whatever happens in Phase 4, and that's the scary thing, I'd say, for Marvel, whatever happens in Phase 4 can still tarnish Phase 1, 2, and 3. Because if you go to do something as hacky as that, it will take their stories, resurrect them, and end them badly. So even if Endgame goes badly, let's say, and we don't like how they deal with a character, that has to be the end of it. None of this take backsies and we're going to have another crack at it. Because then you're diluting the whole universe that they've built.
Are. As in everybody's moment of charity. Like it going back to Coulson. The death of Coulson Avengers is the uniforming moment for the Avengers completely, bringing them all together. Having him come back in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a sour point. I really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really like Coulson. But if I didn't see him again after Avengers until Captain Marvel, that moment would be so amazing and stuff like that.
God, I hadn't even thought of that. So can you imagine actually seeing Phil Coulson for the first time since Loki stuck him through? Or after but not even the stuck him through, after the moment that he shoots Loki with the destroyer gun, kind of thing. Hey, that's what it does, and has a last line. That actually, that would have been a stand up and clap in Captain Marvel moment.
Yeah, so like having them bring back a character wrong is a real bad thing.
It's the worst.
And
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's the worst.
Yeah. Now, if this goes bad as well, it means that people will be looking onto DC.
Yeah.
It's the next biggest name in the things. They're doing their own stuff. They're not specifically trying to build out a full roster world series kind of things. I think they're kind of like foundation. This is where we got everything wrong. Origin movies. We've done Wonder Woman. We've done Aquaman. We've done Superman back in the time.
Yeah.
We're doing Shazam now. you know, kind of thing.
They're experimenting with even trying different things out, with a Joker film having maybe more than one universe on the go. They're experimenting at a good time for them to experiment.
Yeah, because you've also got so like it's but they're still trying to focus on foundation with
absolutely.
People will look into them and just be like, yeah, are you like it as much as I really like DC and their experimental kind of thing where they're trying to do good writing with different tones. They're trying to break away from we're the dark universe of you know, comic books. I don't want to see them being put into the microscope any more than they already have, because the pressure,
really good way of putting it,
because the pressure will be on, and you're just like, no matter how good you are, like with that kind of scrutiny of the fact is that the biggest name in comic book movies failed at their last hurdle.
Yeah.
All right, DC, you haven't done well so far.
Yeah.
Now we're going to scrutinize you the same amount as we scrutinized the last movie, you know?
That guy just knocked Mike Tyson out. Guess what? Get in the ring. You're up next. I know what you mean. That's... Would it be fair to say that one of the big things that's maybe gone wrong for DC is the pressure they've already had? They maybe rushed into some Batman, Superman, Justice League stuff because of what's been happening.
No, I think that's entirely their fault.
Oh, you're not giving them any sort of pass?
For Superman and Batman and Justice League, I definitely think it was their fault. I think that was the money men. I know we're going a little bit off topic, but I think that was the money men going, we want you to do that.
Yeah.
And they went, yeah, but did you not realize that there's 4 films? There's 4 films. There's which goes... Iron Man 1, there's Thor, there's Iron Man 2, and there's Incredible Hulk, and then there's Captain America. So 5 films to set up their universe, and then they had Avengers, and we've got Man of Steel, we've got Superman, Batman versus Superman, which is already
we're rushing it, folks.
And Justice League, so they rushed it completely to the finish.
No, I think that is a good point. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to go well. Until proven differently, that's the way I'm going to think. I'm still very excited for it.
I have faith.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Faith is a good word for it. They've done enough to give us reason to trust them.
Yeah, they definitely have. I think if they screw up, which, as we said, we have faith in the fact that they're going to do good. I think if they screw up, I'll be interested to see how this proceeds.
How they recover, or what they do to recover,
or if they do indeed. I think after Endgame, if it is terrible, it'll be an interesting fair few months of announcements and PR kind of campaigning. You know. Yeah,
it's true. Well, yeah, from a spectator point of view, it could be like watching a car crash and the aftermath. So, yeah, it'll be exciting either way, I guess. Gosh, yeah, it could be very exciting if it doesn't go well. I'm still hoping for good things, though.
Yes, I really am.
Because we're going to leave you on a positive, and the positive is it's going to be great. What's even more positive is we will be back with some Endgame reaction, but we will also be back with our famed and touted our rating separately, so that we can fight about it. Our rating of the 23 that there will be then Marvel movies, or 22.
Yeah,
we're going to rate them bottom to top, and I know there's at least one fight in there because we've already half had it. So yeah, look out for that one. So like, subscribe, and comment what you think is the implications of the Endgame movie, either going well or going badly. So yeah, we've been Hear Us Out. We want to end well. So I've been Patrick, and I've been Paul. Endgame trailer, you saw Hawkeye with the mohawk. Yes, he's now Ronin. Yeah, is he not just Mohawkeye? See, now that's how you do a post-credit. Event Horizon.